All right, Stargirl, since Shiv Part 2 has upped its game and has managed to maintain a better level of performance than its initial episodes, which, tried here and there, but just really weren't all that worthy of recommendation. And now I'm in this spot where it's actually gotten pretty good, almost Flash level good as CW shows go. I'm watching this on the DC Universe app, so there's some scenes I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody in the comments has seen the CW version of it. There's some scenes in the fight here where Wildcat is basically, it doesn't show it all graphically. You see a little splatter of blood and you can hear the slicing of flesh where she's pretty much disemboweling Dragon King's, zombie goons or troops or whatever they are. And I just don't know if that made it to the broadcast version. Because the Stargirl, all in all, is the themes are dark in this business of the villains and how they treat their children, and all. They had this warped sense. They keep using their children as a justification for their ultimate plot for power. But here, clearly, an episode demonstrates if the kids don't shape up, they dump them in a heartbeat. Or did they? Well, we'll get to it. So this one of the 3 episodes that have upped the game for Stargirl, the performance has gotten better, and I think they've learned some lessons, perhaps, or they moved on. I don't know which, but the teen soap opera element, it's still there because it's a part of your main cast here, these teenagers, but it's not the focus. There's still soap opera element of these shows, and they kind of have to be because just constantly being an action adventure series is expensive, so you understand that. But they're doing it all right. It's believable in the sense that now Barbara knows that Courtney is Stargirl. She doesn't even, I don't even know if she knew there were anything like superheroes and supervillains, at least not in her life anyway. And so now, the cat's out of the bag. She knows all of it. She's very upset. We get a flashback of how she and Pat had met and all this, and this is to increase the terrible sense of betrayal that she feels that Pat was not honest with her about her daughter, and she's very angry with him. She tells him he's gonna have to go sleep somewhere else tonight, so he goes to the garage and all this sort of stuff. But eventually, by the end, she's in on the game, and probably should have been all along, because she figures out you might want to know what Icicle's parents are saying when they're speaking Norwegian. So she recorded them and then used the translator, and they're talking about the machine, which of course is Dragon King's machine, with the powers of Brainwave, will dominate the minds of their near vicinity of 6 states, apparently. They'll carve out their own perfect America or whatever. So she's pretty much on the team now. The only one left is their son, who's still in the dark, and boy, is he going to be upset. But Brainwave Jr. here, Henry Jr. is carrying over from the previous episode, is still pretty much the core here. And true to form of the comic book, not exactly like it, of course. It's a very different matter. But he's destined to be more heroic, and he steps up to the plate here and pretty much joins the team. He doesn't have a costume, of course, but they go down to the dungeon and to see what's what, primarily to get Courtney's staff back. The staff decided to take matters in its own hand and attack Brainwave and Icicle in Brainwave's hospital room. And Brainwave's ready for it, apparently, this time. Is able to hold it in place, and then Icicle freezes it, and they capture it, and it's hanging in Dr. Ito's dungeon. Well, the team shows up, and they have their big fight with the goons and everything. Meanwhile, our man finds Solomon Grundy in his cage and damn near releases him. He does some damage to the door. It's really thick and powerful, so it's not easy to get it open, despite his super strength. But obviously, this sets it up that Solomon Grundy will probably Maybe the finale, you know, the battle with him will be there. So they had the big fight and everything, and Wildcat is just slaughtering them all. I mean, I realize they're just zombies, but still. Meanwhile, Dragon King's daughter, of course, she wants to get in on the action, but she's not allowed. And Courtney manages to hold her on without the staff because of all her gymnastics and whatnot. So, okay, you can give them on that. Plus, she's mostly fighting these idiots. She goes up against Dragon King, who, for a minute there, they have him staring at her, which is, yes, creepy, but at the same time, he seems like he's pretty impressed with her. And, of course, this comes into the matter of where, well, perhaps Courtney is better than you, honey, you know, and to piss off his daughter. So they get in the fight, and he's pretty much, ultimately, he's going to win. He's going to kill her with his sword. And then Wildcat manages to get the staff and toss it to Courtney, and she's back in business. And make short work of Dragon King, who does take off his hood, and he looks more frog than snake. and they're all, oh! So, you get that little chuckle out of that. So there's still the elements of silliness and comedy, but it's muted to the point that it doesn't ruin the dark themes and the sad themes of this about the father and son. And of course, early on, he's reading his dad's mind. His dad, apparently, as he wakes up, has lost 10 years of his memory, so he's a little out of it. And as Henry Jr. is trying to figure out what's going on here, his father doesn't remember his mother having died, and the father is like, oh no. And then the son goes back and goes through the videotape diaries that his dad left, and it makes it seem that Icicle killed his mother, so he's all mad and stuff, and he wants to get revenge. But of course, it's pretty obvious. It's not direct. So who really killed his mother? His father killed his mother. He was pushed to a point. He goes on about how she almost turned him because she was so sweet and good. And ultimately, his membership in the Justice Society, or the Injustice Society, was in danger from this. And so he, perhaps the way he, justifies it to himself is that Jordan Icicle, pushed me to do it, and so he did. And so that's the big reveal, but it's not so big, really. You had to have seen that coming. But still, there's the team needs to escape, and Henry stays behind to fight his father. And ultimately, it appears he loses his life in the battle as his father reveals, yes, I killed your mother, don't make me choose again. And of course he does. So father kills the son because the son's not following in his footsteps, apparently. And so they're all devastated and crying, and then they ruin the whole scene with a stupid song, which is what these shows do. So but that's it. That's the ending. But possibly Henry is not dead, that his father let them think that he's dead, and he's got another little plan here, and ultimately probably will side with his son and probably won't survive the series. Now, in the comic book, a similar event happened where ultimately the father comes to see the way the son sees it, but it's too late for him, but the son goes on to be a superhero. But and there's scenes of this where, granted, Henry Sr. Doesn't have all his memories together, but he knows his son's in the hospital hiding from Icicle, and Icicle say, what's the problem? And he says, oh, it's nothing. And so he doesn't reveal his son's presence there. And so maybe he's doing this plan to protect his son because he doesn't want his son going up against the Injustice Society because they'll kill him, or and then dissect his brain and use him for the machine. So perhaps that's what he's doing, and that Henry is not really dead under the rubble, because he can make it look like the rubble crushed him, but hold it up enough to where it really didn't. And so perhaps I watch these in sequence, so I don't know what the next episode reveals. There are only 3 left this season. So maybe that's what they're going to do, or he just did it. He's worse than Darth Vader, just wipes him out and crushes him under the rocks. So And of course, the kids, they didn't get along with Henry at first, and now they're all guilt-ridden. And then, of course, Yolanda, who was his girlfriend, but they split up over the sexting business, so the nudie pics, what have you. So she's devastated, and then Our Man's like, oh crap, really, he picked a fight with the guy, and now he's, oh geez, he just saved my life, and oh man. So there they are, they're in a bad place, and it's just going to get worse because the Injustice Society is they don't have young Brainwave apparently, maybe, but they have the original Brainwave, and their machine can go forward and take over the 6 states that they want to take over. So there we are with Stargirl. Again, Brainwave Jr. is a little weaker than Brainwave in Shiv Part 2, but not by much, and they're maintaining the tone and course that they've established with Shiv Part 2, and that's very good. So, yeah, again, it keeps going like this. Depending on how it ends, might have to just say, yeah, I do recommend the series. I didn't think I would, but because in a lot of ways, the silliness and stuff is very much there, and I can see how that can turn some people off, and all that. But and of course, like I said, Flash level excellence of CW style shows, even that is not entirely worthy of absolute recommendation, because I can see where people just like, yeah, I know it's got cool stuff here and there, but so far this one, as it's going, hasn't stumbled that badly into things like that Flash has gone from extreme excellence to just really terrible episodes. But that the show is young, so it has time to mess up down the road. Probably will. I mean, sometimes the thing is they probably go too long. They don't have the ideas for them and everything. But so far so good as it stands now for Stargirl.
Alright, thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.